Hello and welcome to this woolly podcast about all kinds of yarny things about knits today mainly. I hope you all had a good start into the new year. I did, and yeah, it feels like it's a good. Where are we today? Yeah, the 11th. But it's still okay. I can still wish you a happy new year. Happy New Year. I had a good quiet start. We sent off our daughter on the 2nd of January to her semester abroad in Paris at the Paris School of Business, where she had a great start, and she is very happy to have a sweater that her mother has made for her. I got it done on time. I did not manage to take a picture of her in the sweater, only in progress, because I wanted to measure the sleeves and make sure it's okay, that the length is okay, and I also tried it on the bottom. As you may remember, I made the Il Grande Favorito, and I tried it on myself because it's an oversized sweater, and I liked it even on myself. I mean, that tells you how oversized it turned out. And we decided on overlong sleeves. That's something that she likes, and it has a good length to give her warmth, because if you're not familiar with New Mexico weather, it does get cold here, but it's because it's so dry, you don't feel the cold as much as you do in other areas or maybe in Europe. So we decided on a little bit longer length for her for the sweater. I had the vision of long ribbing on the sleeves, and I struggled a little bit with the pattern, because I went down a needle size initially and I did a 2x2 rib. Didn't like it because it almost turned the sleeves into kind of like a puff and then tight. Of course, not the right thing. I wanted them straight and just accented for the rib area section. So next thing I tried is the same needle size, also rib, and I abandoned that quickly because then I had the perfect idea. What I ended up doing was a 2x2 rib for one round, and in the next round I knitted all the stitches. That had the effect that the ribbing didn't pull together as much. So you have this area of visual interest and set off area in the sleeve and also on the ribbing down on the bottom of the sweater. Not quite that much, maybe like 4 inches or so. But I was very pleased with how that turned out. Very interesting visual interest and very, just rounded the whole thing. I used for the yarn my worsted weight Duke, Zia Wool's Duke that I had dyed in the colorway Ice Ice Baby. And I combined it I held it together with a cotton nylon blend, a little bit of a textured yarn. And it was still not heavy enough to match Isabel Kramer's gauge, her pattern. So I knitted the largest size, and then with the raglan increases, I made sure that the body would get large, but I omitted a bunch of increases for the sleeves, of course, in regular steps. I did not just leave a leave out like an inch or two of increases, but I did maybe every 4 rounds for the sleeves and every 2 rounds for the body to get width here, but not in the sleeves, because she's going to wear a coat, for example, with tighter sleeves. So that all worked out, and like I said, very pleased. And what is next? Yes, what can I tell you? It's always good to when you can blame these things on someone else. And I had recently watched 8 episodes of a German podcaster who showed all of her UFOs / works in progress. And I thought about, what do I have? What are mine? I don't have a lot right now. The only thing that I have is, well, let's not talk about that. I have one lace project that is kind of like hibernating right now, but it will be revived eventually. But I thought, my life was so much more fun when I also had a lot of works in progress. And so I decided I have to cast on a few things. I have gathered yarn for 2 more projects that I have not started yet, but I want to show you everything else that is here in front of me and that I have started, continued working on. It's definitely a growing line of projects, little bit. I need to show you, no, I don't, I will not. I'm just going to show you all the project bags also. So this houses the fingerless mitts that I will finish for my daughter eventually. And these will be turned into a pattern, as I've told you several times. And just to show them again, I'm still struggling with writing this, but also right now I am talking to my friend Ramona in Canada, who has so kindly agreed to help me with writing this, because it's really not easy. So I will get back to this soon. So this will be, that's one of my goals for the year, even though I don't have any goals for the year, but I want to have this sent out into the world as a newly published pattern in the year 2023. And right now, if you remember, I was working on a green version, and this is some yarn that I had dyed, but it's not a base that's still available. So these are the ones. Oh no, I think I may have, this yarn is called Yucca, and there may be a few more skeins currently in the shop. That is something that's interesting to you. It's an alpaca wool silk blend. Very soft. So those were the mitts, which will be called Desert Diamond mitts. But more information will be coming. I've barely worked on these, so I'm not going to go into them. The most exciting thing is, to me, the project that I cast on for our knit-along, and I have named it the Ducati Cal 2023. I decided, because not everybody is going to want to knit a children's scarf, so I'm going to expand it to any of Katarina's patterns. So you can enter into the Cal with anything that you knit off the patterns of Ducati. They are all available on Ravelry, and it will blow you away when you see all the beautiful things that she has designed. Amazing color work socks. I only do very simple and plain socks, but everybody who is into more intricate socks will enjoy those. Yeah, take a look, and I have started a thread in the Ziawos group on Ravelry for all the projects. And then I would say the knit along ends at the end of February. And so we're gonna have it going for 2 months total. And I am talking about what I am knitting, the scarf Waldkind. It's a children's scarf. And I initially had this idea of making that for my goddaughter and her sister in Germany, and I have finished one, and I'm currently cranking up the pace to get the second one going. I mean, I have it going, but to get it finished and to eventually send them off to Germany. I am so happy with how this turned out. It is a gorgeous pattern. The scarf itself turned out not really small. I used Ziawos Cozy, which is a DK yarn, and the colorway is called Heartbreaker. And hello, look at this amazing, beautiful, gorgeous little detail. How amazing is that? Yes. Waldkind translates into forest child, child of the forest, something like that. And so here's the deal. I am using, as per the pattern instructions, 3.5 millimeter needles for a nicely defined leaf. And then later you switch to 4.5 millimeter needles, or at least that's what I use. And the instructions tell you to work a tip about here, but I weighed my yarn and I decided to knit up more yarn. So I went to almost half, and then I lost at yarn chicken and almost had a problem here. But from the initial cast on, I had about 2 yards of yarn left, which I used to finish this. It was weird. Half the yarn went into this half, and I would have used more than 50 grams for this half. Yes, so make a mental note, don't push it. So this is the first one that I finished. And of course I had to start the second one because, you know, I told you last time I had this vision of a basket full of colorful little scarves. I'm not gonna be able to do that because it would mean that I knit nothing but I can do at least 2 for my goddaughter and her older sister. So again, Ziawos Cozy in a one-of-a-kind colorway. Lots of speckles for lots of knitting fun. And yeah, I'm just looking to put in every day a few rounds. Okay, remember this? The Desert Dancer. I designed a hat in 2022 and ran into a few issues and then lost my steam. And now I saw the hat that one of my testers made in a German podcast. And so I decided, hey, this is a great hat. I have to finish the hat, I have to finish the pattern, and this needs to go out into the world. So this is where I am right now with the latest version. I had knitted the initial version and gifted it to a friend because the colors were just not right for me. And so I'm thinking this is going to be nice for me. I'm knitting it with 3.5 millimeter needles, and the yarn is Mirasol Sisa. I'm looking at my note here because I lost my tag, so I had to look that up. And the variegated yarn is a Lang yarn called Mille Colori. So this is a kind of like a braided texture. I hope you can see that. And this is a singles yarn. No problem combining the two. But the really funny thing is that I am working with 3.5 millimeter needles. I cast on with 3 millimeter needles for the ribbing. But I just read for this yarn that it's classified, the Mirasol Sisa, that it's classified as a bulky yarn. And I'm very confused because to me, as I'm working with this is not a bulky yarn. You hear my big sigh. I decided this has to be done over again. So as soon as I'm done with my recording today, I will head out into the dye studio and dye up a nice combination of Zia Wool's Cozy DK to knit another hat, which then will be my 4th, I think. The hat will be available in 4 sizes. And yet again, my friend Ramona is helping me with the writing of the pattern. Thank you, Ramona. And or not the writing per se, but she's helping me with the tech editing, I should say. She's incredible. So yes, I got distracted, sorry. So I've already done, this is my 2nd adult size hat. So I've done another small size. I think the smallest or the 2nd smallest is what I knitted also for my goddaughter. And then I will knit another version with Zia Wool's yarn. Yeah, just to make sure it all works out. Yeah, I'm just really not thrilled with the yarn being classified as bulky. That made me very confused, and I think if it makes me confused as a designer, what will it do to you as the people who are supposed to knit this pattern and be happy about it and have a very happy result? So we're gonna stick to 1 yarn in 2 colors and do it again. Doesn't matter. I'm gonna have a gorgeous hat. I'm looking forward to that. Yes, and then more knitting plans in between. I will finish and work on my elf socks, where I'm in a weird spot right now. 2.5 millimeter needles, and the yarn is called Buddy the Elf, of course, and the dyer is, I'm not sure if she still dyes, but her handle is Mint Rain Yarns. Oops, sorry. Yeah, haven't looked it up, but I love the yarn. And I will slowly keep plucking away whenever I'm in the mood for a simple sock knitting project. Another thing that you may or may not remember is from a few weeks ago. I put it into this bag because I want to start over. I'm thinking, excuse me, this might be something that my daughter would enjoy. So I looked at it again and ended up ripping it out. I'm talking about the Duke City mitts made from this singles yarn, which I don't know, I found in my leftovers. No idea what it is, but it's a fingering weight and a gray gradient. And I found a matching mohair gray. So I'm thinking I want to make just some long fingerless mitts for our daughter. But I ripped them out because I had started them with 4 millimeter needles because the fuzzy mohair tends to bloom, but I thought it was still the gauge was too loose. So what I'm going to use now is 3.5 millimeter needles. In case you're newer to the podcast, you're going to say, what is that white thing? I've talked about it a couple of times. This is how I keep my DPNs. I have sewed with a sewing machine with a wider elastic. I've closed a little loop and I have written the needle size on it with a Sharpie, and they're in a cup, or I have actually a sheet which probably was intended to be a planter that holds my DPNs, and especially these favorites. They're they have their own little cup. The Chaogu, I think it's bamboo. I want to say it's bamboo. These are the longer and nicely pointed DPNs. Yes, so, and it has, the bag that I chose for these is the winter themed ladies here and some vintage fabric on the back. You can tell it's an older bag of mine because I put the velvet on the outside. Now I always put the velvet on the inside, and I hardly ever make a loop that long for my bags. I didn't show you this one. Special hello to Wendy. The last one of these cool bags went to Colorado to a friend of mine who used to live in Albuquerque, and she moved back to Colorado. And she loved this as much as I do. And another shout out to a former bag maker, and that's my Debbie of the Periscoping Sisters, who gifted me this a long time ago. I don't think, are you ever still knitting, Debbie? Don't know. What's next? That's one of my bags. Don't ask me why I put piece fabric on the back, because this is my bag, my favorite Space Girls fabric. It's also an older bag because I hardly ever use the metal zippers anymore, and yeah, don't even have many anymore. What is this? Do you remember? It is the La Luz hat by the fabulous Elisa Latucci, who lives in, I believe, Albuquerque, or at least very close to me, quite close to me. I don't know if you're really in Albuquerque, not quite sure. If you've been around longer, you may remember that this hat was finished, yes. And I had to rip back because I made like this super stupid mistake. I omitted this zigzag section just here under my fingers. Completely omitted that. Overlooked it, didn't make it. The hat was missing probably 2 inches, and I could put it on, but I didn't like the style. Also, I was very much upset with myself for butchering this beautiful pattern. So it was sitting in a bag for a very long time, waiting to be corrected, and that's what I just did. I ripped it out, and I still have more yarn. It's a Ziawul's Chama. It's a sport weight and 8-ply cabled yarn. Beautiful, beautiful base for texture. And I even had this cool pom-pom for it. So I'm looking forward to finishing this actually in the now without mistakes, and I am done with this section. So now I'm gonna get to the part that I had already knitted. I'm looking forward to having this finished. Yes, so the La Luz by Elisa Latucci, a pay-for pattern on Ravelry. What is next? Love this bag. It's a fat squirrel bag that I've had for a few years. I think she still makes these. And this holds my shawl that you have seen that has not grown anymore, but it's now in, it has its bag. This is the one, the Hope and Feathers by Mary Annarella. In Ziawul's Sundancer, Desert Vibes, and no name yet. It will have a name. Thank you, Candace. I think you were the one who suggested a nice name for this one last time, because it needs to have a name. It does. So yeah, haven't continued working on this. Oh, sorry. I need to show you what it is. 3.5 millimeter needles. Blocked it because I was so excited about the project, and here we are. And did I ever show you this bag? This used to be a Barbie bag of Fiona. Very long and rather skinny so she could take her dolls in the car. And now I have taken it, repossessed it, I should say. And this holds the Ducati Waldkind scarves. Yes, and we have come to the end because I decided I wanted to pop out a short episode for you before I cast on the other new projects, which is one of them is going to be a hat, and the other one is going to be another shawl. I'm excited about those two, but I didn't want to cast on 5 projects in one day, even though I got a little carried away, but I'm excited. And last but not least, what I'm wearing today, this is a sweater that I came up with, and it's a bit of it's a nice and a sad story. The nice thing is that I made 3 of these and that they all turned out great. One has long sleeves, and if you've been around, you've seen them multiple times. One has the long sleeves in a pink orange kind of color theme. Then one in short sleeves and more of a green blue theme, and this is the bold color theme with the 3/4 sleeves. Though the other one has short. Did I say that? Yes, I hope I did. And I love them all, but the sad part of the story is that I really would have loved to publish a pattern for these, but I just really don't see myself writing a pattern that is size inclusive at this point. It's very demanding, and it would take up a lot of, I just can't get, I feel like at this point in my pattern writing, it would be too hard, and I would not want to write a pattern that is not size inclusive. So I have abandoned this for now, and I know there's some of you out there who said, hey, I wanted to knit this. So I would just recommend, if you love the concept, if you love how these are, find yourself a top-down sweater, change, grab your leftovers of hand-dyed yarn, and knit and do about 4 to 6 rounds per color, and use your gut to combine the colors. You'll be fine. You're gonna have fun, just like I did. And that's all from me today. I will see you again, hopefully in a few weeks, and I hope you're all well. Until then, happy knitting. Bye.